Yo, what's going on, guys? It's G-Miners here, and obviously we just posted our Garden Speedrun record run last week. We got an 8-minute and 38-second clear, and when I was getting into speedrunning or just getting into Destiny, I would always watch speedruns and would be amazed at how fast people could go and the strats they were using, but I'd really never have any clue what was going on. So now that we have one of the fastest runs or the fastest run, and we're arguably using the most optimal strats, I wanted to go through and break down the run just for fun and also to teach people who might be curious on what's going on. A lot of people were wondering how we did second encounter, how we skipped rooms in first encounter, and why in my POV we only showed one boss being killed and then stopped the run and it was over. So in this video, I'm going to be going over all of that and more. Starting things off, anytime you do have a run that you're starting, you need to start in a default spawn location or layout. Every single raid has one. In the case of Garden of Salvation, you pretty much will spawn all the time in a straight line. So all you have to do is reposition yourself, make sure you're in that default spawning order, and then you can start the run. So in this case, we'll do that. We'll call go, and then the first input is going to start the timer, and then the timer only stops once you get that mission complete, and that's your full time, unless there's any pauses in a run or any other reworks that need to happen to give you a different time. So for Garden, you're going to start off, get down to this portal with 4 players like we do, and then we are also, as you're going to see, using 2 players back here. The main reason for this is you want to get a super quick portal. So these players back here are spamming Galahorn, and we only need these 4 players to really go forward and progress the first encounter and start things off. So we're all just spamming things like Forbearance and Trinity Goal here. They're shooting rockets, and we get through portal in under 18 seconds. After that, 3 of these players are going to be linking, which you're going to see in a second here, and then 1 player is going to be actually starting the encounter and placing down a perma. So right here, myself, Louis, and then one guy behind me, Olsen, we're in the link. We have our other hunter, Rad. He's shooting the Minotaur over here, starting the encounter, placing down a rally flag. And then the 2 people who are on rockets are doing what's known as a death warp. Just to show things from the death warpers POV, all they're doing is spamming rockets to get us through this portal really quickly. And as you're going to see, they're going to down themselves in game, swap loadouts. And then as soon as we start the encounter, like here, you see Rad hits the shot and lands his perma. They can instantly spawn right up here in first encounter, grab the rally flag and go. So that's a death warp. It gets them to first encounter. We successfully start the encounter right away, and then we instantly link and open the door, and we can progress. Once the door gets open, this first room has a lot going on, so I'm going to try and explain that quickly and simply. But as you're going to see, there are a bunch of different spawn locations, and the reason that we start the encounter early on top of getting a perma and allowing people to death warp is so that these spawns in this room will get a head start on spawning. So as we're opening this first door and the encounter is already started, we do have these guys already spawning. So there's going to be a set of spawns down here. There's one up top. The Cyclops needs to die. There's an overload right around here, and then my ad spawn down in like the middle lower area. So your goal here is to kill everything as quick as possible. And the reason for that is because if things are not dead, if enough enemies aren't dead, the game won't be able to spawn the angelic. This is what's called a frame rule. The game, I believe, checks every 4 to 5 seconds to see if the conditions are met for the angelic to spawn. And those conditions, again, are having enough ads dead. So if you have enough ads dead, by the time the game checks, it'll spawn the angelic. Otherwise, it'll only check again in another like 4 or 5 seconds. So you can miss it by a frame or hit it by a frame. And I believe that's why it's called a frame rule. Backing things up one final time, as you're going to see here, I'm going to crank up the volume so you can hear me call out. There's something unique to Garden, which is a room skip that you now need to do to get record.
Runnable.
As you can hear, I called runnable, and the reason that I called runnable is I can look right here and see that we got this box location right here. There's a 1 in 3 chance for this box to spawn, and we need this box to spawn based on the strats that we're using in order to actually get a run to go through. This is useful for 2 reasons. Again, you're going to see us clear our ads just like this. We do hit the frame rule because the angelic pretty much instantly starts spawning as we get up here. I don't think you can really do it any faster. And then here with this box, we're doing a 2-man link first to open this door right here. So 2 of us are linking. And then we're immediately using that box again to do what is called tree room skip. So this is tree room, and we're bringing the link from this previous room all the way through and successfully skipping this room. That tree room skip, I think, took us around 8 seconds, which is a 13 or 14 second time save. And that is pretty much the entirety of first encounter. You want to make sure that you're going fast, you get a good portal, you get a good start and first door open, you go through, you get frame roll, you do your tree room skip, and then you should be good to go. Everything after that is pretty much time locked. You can't really force the game to go too much quicker. And then the only other major strat that we're using is having 3 people skip ahead to get a head start on second encounter. The skip you do is just right up here. You skate over this ledge, and then you typically use something like mountaintop. There's other ways to skip, but I'll pre-damage myself. You land in this zone, and then shoot right before you touch the ground as you get into that next load zone. And the game tries to figure out where it can spawn you, and it just throws you down here in the undergrowth, and then you can go all the way to second encounter and get a head start. When it comes to second encounter, there's a lot going on here. This is the most complex encounter in the raid. A lot of people refer to Garden as just second encounter because this is where all your time save comes from. So I'm going to try my best to explain everything that's going on, starting with our first strat, which is called zero sub. Zero sub's been around for a while, and what it means is that you want to never subside, which means never kill all the enlightened ads, until you've linked up on all 4 of the main relays. So what you're going to see here is as soon as I got a checkpoint update, I'm going to swing my sword forward, hit another checkpoint, call die, and then my teammates are going to die. I'll put a perma down and I'll start the encounter. When I start the encounter, Louis is already on 2, so he'll drop down, get the angelic to spawn, kill it, and then Myth, who's right above me, waiting to skate off this statue, will link up with Louis over on 2. They'll actually do the link, and then from there, they'll go to 3. Die. So just like that, they all die. I perma. They're going to spawn in right behind me, as you're going to see, right here. And then 2 of them are going to stay on this relay and link on 1. And then myself and Rad are going to go down to 4 and link over there. So some people do 1. Me and Rad do 4. And then Myth and Louis are doing 2 and 3. I also skate down here, as you just saw that like bright light. That's the angelic being spawned in, so I can get a head start, spawn that angelic for them on 3, so that when they get there a bit later, they don't have to wait as long for that angelic to spawn. So that saves a few seconds. And then you're also going to hear us call sub here, which is pretty important.
Sub.
So when we call sub, that means that we have finally linked on 3. And then we can kill the last enemy with that enlightened or white shield, which triggers a subside. Subside just means everything is dead, and then it progresses the encounter. If you don't link on all 4 relays by the time that everything is dead, you don't get angelics to spawn in that next wave. You have an entire wave of just regular trash ads to kill again, which is a lot of time loss. So if you don't have that set up, it's basically a reset for this encounter. After zero sub goes through, you're going to see that I just swapped to a new loadout, which has like Xenophage and a wave frame. This also has like Genesis weapons on it, and this is just way more efficient for our subs. In case I haven't explained it already, subs are the time it takes from you getting ads to deploy on all 4 of the lanes to the time it takes for all those ads and the angelics to be dead. So that's called a sub or a subside. Your goal is to get it to around 8 seconds or 10 seconds, depending on how fast you can go. And the only other major thing that we do each and every time is keep these defaults alive, because we can proc Radiant, and then because the angelics are random, you never know when you're going to get them. If you do happen to get angelics, you're then Radiant, you have Xenophage with a 25% buff, and you can shoot twice to kill each angelic. I'm swapping up POVs just to show you guys how we get angelics in the order of our run. So keep in mind, there's 4 angelic spawns that you need to deal with, aka 4 subsides that we're aiming for. And I'm going in the order that we get angelics, so you can kind of understand where the angelics are spawning, which side has the hardest time each and every time in rotation. So we're starting on Rad's POV. He is on number 2, which is probably one of the hardest plates to deal with by yourself. And you're going to see how he handles angelics. So just like this, he's going to throw his Radiant Knife, become Radiant, and then as soon as the ads spawn, he can see that he has angelics. So he's going to call out that 2 has angelics, and that his ads spawned in mid. The other important thing to understand with subs and your sub waves is how the ads spawn. So whenever your ads spawn in a lane like this, they're going to be first spawning here, and the next set will always spawn to the right. So if he calls middle ads, that means his next spawn will be on the right. So if anybody rotates to help him out, they can come to his plate, understand that he has angelics, they hear him call mid first, and they're going to understand that the next set of ads will spawn on the right. If it spawns right first, then it goes to left. If it spawns left first, then it goes to mid. Just follows that same order. His goal here is really just to kill this first wave of ads, kill both of his angelics or all 3, and then once all 3 of the angelics are done, he'll get this next set of ads to spawn. He does it just like that. It's super quick. and then he comes over to this relay to link, and we're going into sub number 2 now. Moving on to sub number 2, we obviously just had first done. That was on relay number 2. Now we're in Ice's POV. He defends 1. So just to show what he does, this is going to be by far the hardest relay to defend, especially with Angelics. So what we do is we have 2 players usually on this just to make sure that he can get a really quick sub, especially with Angelics. So as you're going to see, he gets mid adds to spawn with his 3 Angelics. So he's going to call out Angelics, kill this set of mid adds like that. And then he has to only worry about his middle Angelic because Miff is killing the one on the right. And then also unique to this run, as you're going to see, this is still sub number 2. Rad is returning from linking, just doing his normal sub because he knows that he already had Angelics, but he's going to hear Ice call out. So he's going to kill his default adds like that and then prioritize the Angelic and kill Ice's left Angelic so that Ice doesn't have to worry about that. And we're already done with sub number 2. Now we're moving on to sub number 3. This is Olsen's POV. He's defending relay number 3 as well. So you're going to see him once again proc Radiant on his defaults. He'll get Angelics and he'll call that out. And we also needed him to get Angelics here because if he gets Angelics last for the 4th sub, it's just a reset. And I'll explain why in a second. So he's going to kill his middle and his left, which likes to hide, and then he's done. And the reason for that is because Rad is also killing his right Angelic. So Rad's helping out with his own sub. He's doing his own sub. He's helping out with the Angelics on 1 and Angelics on 3. So that just makes things a lot faster. And just like that, he's onto his last wave of default adds. And then we're linking right after that. And that's 3rd sub. So just to go back and play everything out once again for second encounter, just so you guys can understand how fast things are happening here. This is us doing our 0 sub, killing these anti-barriers again. That's our sub call. We just got 0 sub to go through, and this is where I'm swapping loadouts. And so now you're going to kind of see things from my perspective, hearing other people call out their sub waves.
I hope that didn't kill your defaults. I'm sorry.
Once again, you just proc Radiant for safety in case you do get Angelics, because Angelics are a random order. And then here, I'm just killing with Genesis weapons. Genesis refunds your entire magazine if you break something's shield. So that's on my sniper, that's on my wave frame, and it makes it so that I never really have to reload my weapons. After that, each and every time you sub, you're coming to a random relay or staying on your own relay that you have predetermined to link on. So I'm linking right there to get Enlightened back. I'm collecting Orbs of Power so that I can get Feast of Light stacked up, which will come in handy a bit later. And then I'm back on my relay to sub. So this is 2nd sub. That means Ice just had Angelics. It took us that long to sub. So that's the sub noise going through. And then we're going into sub number 3, where Olsen's obviously going to have those Angelics. The main reason we need Olsen to have Angelics as well is so that I can trap with Anarchy on his relay for the last sub. So as you're going to see, I try and go as quick as possible here and then instantly leave my relay so that I can get to his, link up as soon as possible, and trap up with Anarchy. So I'll swap loadouts here, turn around, shoot to loot this heavy brick right here to get more ammo, jump up to this spot, and then I have all these lineups that I shoot with Anarchy because Olsen's going to be leaving his area. These Anarchies are going to kill all the adds, and then I come back to 4 to kill. And the reason I need Feast of Light with Star Eater Scales is so that I can one-shot all my Angelics, even though I somehow didn't one-shot this guy and then had to snipe him. And so that is our entire 4th sub done with just really 3 people. Just to make things super clear so everybody's kind of on the same page, this was our 4th and final sub. We just finished it, and these were the 4 outside subs. And now you can see that mid door is fading right here. When that mid door fades, we are now going into our mid subs. You're going to first have a wave of just regular adds that is in all 4 of these main diagonal lanes that you go to mid through. Then after you link the first time, you're going to have 2 Angelic spawn, and then 2 lanes are going to have Enlightened adds. And then after you link a second time, then you have 4 more Angelics, and all 4 lanes have their Enlightened adds. What we're doing here, though, is called early mid subs. And what that's going to do is basically combine the first set of default spawns and that first set of like 2 Enlightened adds. So as soon as we go into mid, we are doing early mid subs. And the way to do that is having 2 people, which are going to be Miff and Olsen here, already in the middle, ready to link as soon as this barrier drops, which is why I trapped up on 3rd, because Olsen had to leave. I did 4, Ice still did 1, and then Rad did 2. Once again, just to make sure people are on the same page and fully understand what's going on, we're back on Olsen's POV here. This is backed up all the way to the 3rd sub where he gets Angelics, and then after 3rd sub, that is exactly when I start trapping Anarchy over on his side to kill the ads while I'm not here. He's going to link up with me, and then he'll hit his mid bounce and link up with Myth. So just like that, he kills everything. I'm pretty sure he meant to swap to a different build here. So you'll see him swap again. I'm here still over on the radar back here, setting up my Anarchy traps as he's swapping and then hitting his mid bounce. So he'll do this. Even though the barrier is like all the way down here, it's still like a physical barrier up there. So it's a pretty tight skip or bounce that you have to hit over. And then he's going to link up in mid with Myth. And the game's not really going to let him link until after the mid barrier is dropped. So they're just waiting for that. And then after they link, you're going to see what I'm talking about. He gets his like first lane of those default ads with no shields. And then instantly we get that shielded enemy wave. So he's able to quickly wipe those out so that we get our first mid sub done. And we're basically doing those 2 sets of clearing ads all at once. And then back on my POV, just to show you guys exactly what we're doing when going into mid. There's a couple of important things happening. So I'm going to leave the audio play a bit. Here, I just got my regular old default ads. And then at this point, it's just going to be myself, Ice, and Rad that are linking and then taking out that final wave of ads in mid, which is known as the mid 2 sub. So we link up. Myth and Olsen are now on their way to 3rd encounter. I'm going to trap up this lane up over here. And then after that, everybody has a lane that they kill and some angelics after that. So you're going to see me take these guys out just like that. And then I try and just flex to kill whatever is needed. And you're also going to hear our pool call, which is pretty important here. Cool. So that pool call, we call out when there's only like 1 or 2 ads left. And we know that we can kill them really quickly. And then that's when our player who skips up to Sanctified, which is Louis, knows to start his encounter. And as you just saw, when we call pool and we have joining allies, the game tries to force us and make us join into the Sanctified Mind encounter, which is the final encounter, but completing 2nd encounter here is what actually overrides that and keeps us basically in the 2nd encounter area so that we can now do 3rd encounter. Hopefully 2nd encounter wasn't too confusing. Now I'm going to be going over 3rd encounter and then a bit of 4th encounter. I think 3rd encounter is a bit more mechanical in order to actually like go fast and manipulate the encounter, but the boss bake is way easier than the Sanctified kill. So here, all we're really doing is getting to the Minotaur spawn locations as quick as possible. We call dead as soon as the minnow is dead or like a half second beforehand. And then a player will then kill 2 goblins on that dead call, which will instantly trigger the next minnow to spawn. For whatever reason, like staying on top of your goblin kills and killing the right amount, not too many, not too few, is going to then give you instant Minotaur spawns to make you go as quick as possible. So at this point, I should have picked up all 10 of his motes and killed 2 Minotaurs. Rad's going to be killing his 2. I have 1 dead and 1 set of motes, so I have 5, and then I'm doing eyes. So I'm coming back here, and I instantly see the last Minotaur spawn out of the corner of my eye. Once again, everything happens super fast, and this is what's known as a trio 1-spit. I know it's super blurry, but we're basically just doing a trio 1-spit to make it go as quick as possible. And then the nice part about this is I can sword down to relay really quickly using Garden Armor, and I think it's enhanced Voltaic Ammo Collector, and I'm going to be killing a bunch of ads while I have Voltaic Overflow, and that gives me a ton of heavy ammo. And because we're on rockets, even though it's an ammo finder brick, which doesn't have a large amount of ammo, it still gives me like 1 or 2 rockets, which is perfect. And then after that, we just bake the boss. It's super easy. We use like 2 golden guns, a T-Crash, and then RDMs to just spam rockets while somebody uses tractor and slug swaps. Here we pop Goldie and then swap the RDMs so that we have like a celestial shot ready to go. And then it's as simple as proccing bait and switch and RDMs and then just firing rockets. And then I think Ice T crashes at the end here. That kills the boss. Again, it's super easy. You just need to learn how to make the encounter go really quickly. And then at this point, we finish in like 7 minutes and 55 seconds. And our run is obviously 8 minutes and 38 seconds. So we just kind of hang out until the rest of the raid is done. And that's it. Moving back over to Olsen's POV just to show you everything here. we're back in second encounter technically, and you're gonna see how they get to third encounter. So Miff's gonna hit a skate. Olsen on Hunter, because he can't skate into a bounce like this, is going to grapple on top of him, and they're both gonna get over this barrier. As you could just see, Louis is all the way up at Sanct in a different load zone. So all Miff and Olsen have to do is get into this load zone by the time Louis starts it, and they're also going to be able to do a death warp to get up to final encounter. Eventually you'll hear us call pool as well.
Do late call.
Yeah.
Full.
Cool. So that's our pool call. Sank starts right now, I would assume. Perma goes down, and they can death warp all the way up to Sank, and then complete the encounter up here. Just skipping around, you're going to see why Sanct is just a much slower encounter. Olsen's going to kill everything and just be stuck in here with 10 motes for like 10 seconds. It kind of sucks because you could probably go a lot faster. You could even make Sanctified Mind a quicker encounter than Harpy, if I had to guess, if you didn't have all this wasted time. Like, he's chilling at 10 motes, ready to be pulled out for the longest time, and he's just chilling in here waiting for those crit spots to pop up so he can actually get pulled. So it's really just a rotation of you waiting for the game to waste time, which kind of sucks, but you're just doing that. Miff will like go in 2 portals at the same time kind of thing. He'll go back to back after dunking just to make sure they're going as quick as possible. And then really it just comes down to their boss bake. So they're going to swap encounters. Olsen's going to rally here. And then after that and dunking, they're going to kill Angelic. They're going to duo link, and we just use Cataphract with bait and switch to bake the boss. It's as simple as that. You do also use Enhanced Relay Defender ×4, a buff and a debuff, and surges. So you have a ton of extra damage, but that's basically it. It's just hammering the boss with a heavy GL and chunking the hell out of him. Just to end the video off for Sanctified Mind, I also wanted to show you the drop. So we're on Louis' POV, who was our skipper, who pulled the Sanctified Mind and like left early. He was one of the flex / rotating players in second encounter. And he's just going to go over here and wait to hit a drop to get to the chest checkpoint so that we can actually get mission complete. Miff also will be like over here hitting another checkpoint. He just has to backtrack and hit one that we didn't hit when doing the skip, just because it makes things a little bit faster and you can hit it later. And that's basically it. As most people know, you don't actually have a run stop its time until you get mission complete. So we just hit the chest checkpoint at like 8:30. And then obviously we got an 8:38, so it takes about 8 seconds for that to give you mission complete. And that is our full run. Let me know if you guys enjoyed the breakdown, and if you want to see more breakdowns for runs I've done, runs maybe that I haven't done, but I might understand the mechanics for. Not sure if people will really like this video and we should turn it into a series or not. Hopefully everything was super clear. As always, have a good one, guys. Peace.